I said Star Wars fans were on the weekend winner list. Well, guess what just dropped on the internet? The new Rise of Skywalker teaser, and it's incredible. I just watched it in the break. We'll talk about it more later. Ross, do you like Star Wars?
Yes, I do. I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, man. I used to play when I was a kid. My uncle had all. My uncle's 15 years older than me, so he had all the old pieces of like the little toys. And
yes.
stuff. So, yeah, I used to play with the androids, which are now probably worth a lot of money. I used to play with those, the Millennium Falcon and stuff from the late 70s, early 80s.
The old Kenner toys. They're incredible.
Yep.
Nerds. Hey, Ross, Feleipe Franks, has he got any better? I mean, is it maybe this is a better question. Is it fair to judge him after a mid-August college football game?
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't think it's fair to and your first question, I don't think it's fair to answer. After game one, when he's playing a pretty good defense and a lot of pressure on him, in-state rivalry. I don't think it's fair to judge him after game one. But I'll say this: I thought he would be. Things would go a little smoother for the Gators offense. With him, I thought he would be a little smoother on some things. And and I wrote this. I more so saw the guy from the first 20 games of his career rather than the guy that we saw the last 4 games last season.
Yeah, and so I guess what's your overall takeaway then? Because in an odd way, although Florida didn't look particularly smooth, as you said, I almost come away more impressed because they overcome a 4-1 turnover deficit. They overcome only having the ball for 23 minutes that game. Where is Florida now in your mind in relation to where they were in your mind pregame?
Well, I'll be honest. I thought Florida, and at some point I think I wrote this for SI. We had to do a who among the preseason top 10 would not finish in the top 25, or who would have the most likely chance to not finish in the top 25. And my pick was Florida. I thought all kind of the preseason they're a little overrated in a lot of ways. We haven't seen a consistent real output from their quarterback, for one, like we just talked about, and then their offensive line lost 4 starters, and you saw some of the issues there as well on Saturday. I just thought, and then you saw a defense that was supposed to be the strength, and they did play good by times, but man, did they miss a lot of tackles. I was just in that DJ Dallas from Miami. He's going to be good.
Love him.
But yeah, he was impressive. But man, the Gators missed a lot of tackles. I mean, it was probably well over 15, 20 tackles they missed. So, I thought in the preseason they're a little overrated. So honestly, they were about what I expected. Probably not what other people were. I mean, they looked like an 8-4 team, and that's kind of what I expected, not necessarily what they projected. In the preseason overall, I just think they have a lot of holes offensively and a lot of problems offensively, and I think a lot of them, kind of were exposed against a Miami team that probably is going to be better.
They look good. I mean, that's my other takeaway. Miami, Miami
looks
looks like, and they're working from a lower expectation level. Like,
especially
Mandy has not a bad
freshman
place.
Quarterback and a freshman left tackle.
Yeah.
The quarterback looked good. I know that he probably hung onto the ball a little longer than he should have, but as you said, they had a couple freshmen on the offensive line, for one, and two, they're facing. That is the strength of Florida. Obviously, the D line is clearly the strength of Florida. They are really good up front on that D line. So I came away with that game impressed with really 2 players who stood out to me more than anybody else, and that was Jaron Williams, the Miami quarterback, and DJ Dallas, the Miami running back. That's who stood out to me more than anybody. I would say number 3 would be any of those Florida defensive linemen. So that was kind of what I came away with the game. I think it's very clear to me why they picked Jaron over Tate.
Yes,
it became very clear. Didn't make any really big mistakes. Showed some pretty good accuracy and some poise and elusiveness. Man, I mean, he had 10 sacks. I mean, he was sacked 10 times, and probably a good half of them or so he probably should have threw the ball. So, but he didn't throw the ball and didn't get a big pick or anything like that. And also he showed some elusiveness where he got out of probably another half dozen would-be sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about a welcome to the SEC moment, being a left, or not welcome to college football, I should say, but being a left tackle last year facing high school cats, and then you got Jabari Zuniga lining up across from you like that's scary. Looking forward to this weekend, Ross. What games are you going to be locked into? What is most tantalizing to the famous Sports Illustrated writer Ross Dellenger?
Right, yeah. I'm heading to Clemson for Clemson Georgia Tech on Thursday. Okay. Want to see the defending national champs with a totally remade, pretty much defensive front. Should be interesting to watch. And of course, Georgia Tech with brand new coach, not running the triple option anymore down there, so that should be interesting. That'll be Thursday night, and then I'm hopping on a plane to Dallas to cover Auburn, Oregon on Saturday night.
What's the storyline around that game? Because Auburn's starting a true freshman quarterback, and then on the other side, Herbert, he may have been one of the top quarterbacks taken in last year's draft, but he decides to go back to Eugene for his senior season. What's the storyline going into that matchup?
Man, I know that usually in these kind of matchups, the pressure seems to always be on the SEC team and, representing the league and, best team in football, best league in football kind of thing. Got to beat these lower Power 5 conference teams or something. But this one to me, and Auburn's got a true freshman quarterback, and Oregon is loaded in a lot of ways outside of their own quarterback as well, and they got all these high expectations to represent the Pac-12 and the CFP and finally get in the CFP. And I think all the pressure, it feels like, is on Oregon this time around, and I can't believe Auburn's favorite. I saw that. That's the whole SEC thing right there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more than just that's the SEC. But man, the Pac-12, they got to have something good happen. Arizona goes to Hawaii and gets beat. I mean, they got to start winning some of these non-conference early season games. And the pressure to me feels like it's all on Oregon. If Oregon doesn't win that game, there might be no hope for the Pac-12. At this point this year.
Everybody around LSU, and this is typical for this time of the year, Ross, and you know this, whether they open up with one of these powerhouses like Oregon, like they did in 2011, or whether they open up with somebody like Georgia Southern, who doesn't bring them as much national attention as a Week 2 versus Texas matchup does. What's your thought of LSU playing and opening with a Georgia Southern team that runs this triple option attack? They put guys into the NFL on the defensive side, not with the numbers, but they have players over there. What do you think of Week 1 matchup for LSU?
I saw a clip from the Rotary Club meeting about a month ago with Ed Orgeron, and I think some fan, I don't want to call this fan a heckler, but there was a man in the audience who asked a question about Verge Osbury's salary and saying he gets paid X amount to schedule these, like crappy football games. Well, Verge, as obviously you guys know, is a former player. He knows what he's doing, and this is a good example of it. And you're going to play a triple option team, you better play them the game one, so you have all off season and camp to prepare for that triple option. And so I don't think it's going to be a problem because LSU's had so long to prepare for it, And we saw the Florida Miami, how ugly that game was. That's a good example of why teams probably open seasons with lower competition, to get ready. So, the fact that LSU had all off season and stuff to prepare for this triple option, that's when you schedule those games. I remember talking to Verge about it, and this has been 5 years ago probably. It was one of my first years or so on the LSU beat, and we discussed triple option teams and scheduling them. And I remember him saying, you got to do it like after a bye or the first game of the season.
Yeah.
You got to do it where you can prepare, and they've done it here, obviously.
Yeah, if you look down future schedules, they have Army coming in one year, and it's like week 5 or week 6, and that's one of those scheduling where you're like, man, you're getting ready for SEC teams all week, then you got to get prepared for for a specialized type triple option attack. All right, Ross, we're looking forward to this every Monday, man. Off to Clemson this week, then Dallas on Saturday night. We'll be recapping it all a week from now. Thank you for the weekly here on Off the Bench for another season.
All right, y'all. Thanks.
All right, Delly.
There's Dellenger from Sports Illustrated checking in. We'll be back and close it out.